Day 3 of OTAs. The beat writers, the Giants reporters did not let me down. There was a lot of excitement today, a lot of posts. Twitter, social media was going bananas with all of the information, the updates. They were talking about the high-flying throws, all this stuff that was going on between Daniel Jones and Darren Waller. So I'm excited about all the news. And here's where you're going to come to get those updates. So without further ado, hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. Today's video is a recap of Day 3 OTAs. The media was in the building. They were allowed to have access. You got some player interviews. You got comments going on about who was next to who was lining up to what, this, that, and the third, and I'm excited. And here are all those updates. I do have a bone to pick. I saw an article, and I believe it was from PFF or ESPN Plus, one of these places where they ranked us at like 29 as far as off-season moves. So we had a horrible off-season. I absolutely don't agree with that at all. I don't understand why they think that. Just to draft alone, just to pick up a Darren Waller, to pick up a Bobby Okereke, picking up Ashawn Robinson. I don't understand how we had a horrible, or we ranked that low as far as off-season moves. Makes no sense to me, but it is what it is. You know what I like? I like a good underdog, and the Giants, whenever we are that underdog, we tend to shine. So I'll take that, and just accept that people are still hating. People don't realize what's about to happen, but they will sooner or later. So back to these player interviews. Bobby Okereke was one of the guys that they interviewed. They asked him about wearing the green dot. They asked him about, possible guys that be playing next to him at the other linebacker spot. Talked about him, being New York and how he's adapting to, the team. Said he loves New York. He's liking the team. He's liking the scheme. He's liking what Wink's defense is all about. When they asked him about the green dot, he said he did have the green dot a few times in Indianapolis with the Colts. But, it's still something that he still needs to learn and get a better grasp on. And I'm like, okay, these are all truthful answers. Then when he got to, the other guys in the linebacker room, interior linebacker room, he sang some praises for Micah McFadden, said he liked the skill set. He talked about the experience of Jarrad Davis, and he also talked about, the talent or potential that Darian Beavers has. The next guy that had an interview with Xavier McKinney, they did talk about his recovery, his rehabilitation, how's he doing with his rehab, stuff like that. He said he feels good, he feels great, everything's coming along as planned. He did talk about the green dot and how he felt about other guys having the green dot. He's open to it. He knows that Wink Martindale will test some things out. And it's not just Bobby Okereke and Xavier McKinney. They didn't say who else was practicing with that green dot, but from what I'm hearing from both Bobby Okereke and Xavier McKinney, they are not the only guys that were practicing with that green dot. So that's pretty cool to hear too. But we already know at the end of the day, it's going to be one of those guys, one of those two that have that green dot in the season. Andrew Thomas was at the podium. They talked to him about, the Giants picking up the 5th-year option. He's excited about that, happy he's going to be there, for another year. They did also ask him about, getting an extension in the future. He said he'll let things play out the way they need to play out. He's not worried about that right now. All of the politics, that you expect people to say. And, it is what it is. He did also talk about things that he worked on throughout the summer, hand placement, technique, things like that, trying to get stronger. And it's just good to hear a guy that's coming off of, possible all-pro season, definitely one of the top offensive tackles in the league right now, and he's talking about what he needs to work on to get better. And you like that work ethic, with your guys, especially guys that you plan on being here for years to come, because we all know that at some point in time, Andrew Thomas is getting extended, and he's getting the bag. He is getting the bag for sure. Next, talk about Daniel Jones. And one of the questions they had about Daniel Jones, or one of the questions they asked Daniel Jones, was about the way that John Michael Schmitz snaps the ball.
I'm good with it. He's accurate, and yeah, I'm good with it.
He said he likes it. He had no problems with it. He did say that, John Michael Schmitz asked him about it, and or asked him if he had a preference. He tested it out. He has no issues with the way that John Michael Schmitz snaps the ball. That's one thing that we can check off this list of questions, because that was one of the things people were bringing up. And again, not an issue right now. He said he gets it right where it needs to be. Good ball accuracy when he's snapping. No issues with John Michael Schmitz snapping the ball to DJ. They also asked him about the addition of Darren Waller. The man smiling from ear to ear, talking about what a great talent, how he adds an element to this offense that we haven't seen yet. And just saying his praises about, the possibilities of what we can see, going into the season. Say they still need to build chemistry. He's still learning the offense and things like that. But that's all the stuff you want to hear. And not to mention, when you think about some of the highlights we got today, they were talking about one of the passes off the rip was a deep pass down the sideline to Darren Waller. And he happened to burn, I believe, Darnay Holmes on that first pass. But hey, it is what it is. We've seen him do it to the likes of players like Darnay Holmes, and we've seen him do it to some of the best secondary, out there. The whole point for me is building that chemistry, building that camaraderie, and also, did Daniel Jones hit him in stride? That was my question when I first heard about the deep pass. I got the answer that everybody said yes, he hit him in stride. That's all I need to know. I need that chemistry. I need to know that he's hitting guys in stride. Good ball placement is all I want to know about. So let's get into some of the nuggets that the beat writers and, some of the reporters had regarding today's OTAs. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is Ben Bredeson was lined up with the first team at left guard. So obviously we know the lineup now is going to be starting off. You got Andrew Thomas, Ben Bredeson, John Michael Schmitz, Lewinsky, and Neal. That is your, first team offensive line right now. Not a lot of surprises. I didn't see or hear any kind of update on Joshua Zoodle, how he's doing with his recovery. But right now we're looking at Ben Bredeson at the left guard. Again, no surprises there. Kind of expected that. And we just hope that we can get that continuity built. And hopefully it's not a game of musical chairs. So in fact, or I'm hoping that Joshua Zoodle gets healthy fast. That way they can have a real competition at that spot. So by the time we get into the season, we're not doing that musical chairs thing. Another thing that they wrote about was Bobby McCain was next to Xavier McKinney, as the other safety. And that's something that I said when we picked him up in free agency. I said, if I'm looking at this roster right now, I'm going to pencil in Bobby McCain next to Xavier McKinney. And that's what we saw today when they went out there and lined up. And again, we didn't get this information in the first OTAs because the Giants don't mention things like that when they write on their on the website and things like that. This is information that we're seeing from the sideline, from these reporters, from these beat writers, and this is the type of information that I've been waiting on, since OTA started. This is why I like when they have the media guys in there so much. The other thing that was a surprise, maybe not a surprise because he's a rookie, Deonte Banks was not with the first team as far as cornerbacks go. Instead, we had Adoree Jackson, and then Aruwariye was the other cornerback lined up with the first team. And again, we're talking about every team does this sometimes, even though he's going to be the starter eventually, you got to go through your rookie period where you earn your snaps. And that's what I believe, or that's what I know is going on, between, that cornerback position. And no doubt in my mind, Deonte Banks is the starter at the beginning of the season. You don't spend that type of draft capital and don't start the guy. Even though I do like the pickup of Amani, he's not really threatening Deonte Banks' spot. Deonte Banks has to play horrible for that to happen, and I don't think that's gonna happen at all. Like, that's the furthest thing in my mind, is that man just absolutely being horrible. So much talent. Good press, man-to-man type corner, physical. So even though he's a young guy, a rookie, he still has the build of a veteran. You don't see too many cornerbacks that are over 200 pounds. He's one of them. All right, so outside of that, let's talk about some of these highlights. Okay, again, I spoke to it earlier. Everybody saw the clip, Daniel Jones hitting Waller deep. Again, in stride. Good, good for him. Darius Slayton caught a couple deep passes as well. Another guy, Paris Campbell, making plays all over the field too. John Schmelk today wrote in the article, short game, intermediate game, deep passes. Paris Campbell is involved in all of that. Love to hear it. Again, it's funny too because I'm just thinking about how this offense is going to look, who's going to be the X, Y, and Z receivers. and nobody knows yet. Nobody knows yet, but again, something that everybody can look at or look forward to when we get into training camp and start getting these real reports and real videos of how these guys are doing throughout training camp. Another thing, Sterling Shepard, limited, did catch some passes, did run some routes on the field. Wan'Dale Robinson was running on the sideline, saw him on the jugs machine, had a couple photos of him doing that. And yeah, who starts on the PUP list? I don't know. Sterling Shepard is is like Wolverine, man, when it comes to healing. The man heals supernaturally. So him already, on the field participating in a limited capacity, it is what it is. We'll see what happens in preseason. Is he going to get those same snaps when it's full on 11 in pads? I hope so, but again, we'll see what happens with that. Colin Johnson too, another good day from Colin Johnson. Just going down my list of guys that had some good days. On the defensive side, Cordell Flott, Javarius Owens are names that are popping a little bit too. Every practice so far, or every OTA so far, you've heard that Cordell Flott has made some plays. For two practices in a row, you saw that Javarius Owens made some plays as well. So that's going to be my recap for OTA Day 3. The Giants are not back in the building until after the holiday. I believe it's going to be May 30th and the 31st. They'll be out there again, and then they take another break, and then they come back in June. So I want to thank you guys for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. I hope you have a good Memorial Day. Hope you have some good barbecue, some good eats, or whatever you like to do with your family. And Giants family, let's go.